Have you ever wondered what those fixed stares and slow blinks from your cat mean? More than just distant pets, cats communicate through a secret language of love and trust. In this MeowTube video, we will decipher the hidden signs that show your cat trusts you, from the feline kiss to why they expose their belly. We'll give you the tools to build an unbreakable connection that will make you see your feline companion in a whole new light. If you want to unlock this truth, stay tuned until the end and subscribe so you don't miss our next journey into the animal kingdom. Part 1. Welcome to MeowTube, the channel for cat lovers. The silent contract, understanding feline trust. In the vast universe of human-animal relationships, few are as complex and often as misunderstood as the one we share with the domestic cat, Felis catus. For millennia, they have walked on the edge of our world, sharing our homes, yet rarely surrendering their entirety. Their affection is not an overflowing torrent, but a slow, deliberate drip. Their loyalty is not loudly proclaimed, but whispered in the quietest gestures. This is why a cat's trust is not a gift bestowed lightly. It is a hard-won treasure, a privilege granted only to those who prove themselves worthy of it. We often fall into the trap of projecting our own human expectations onto these enigmatic creatures, expecting an expressiveness that contradicts their very nature. We seek confirmation of affection in terms familiar to us, and when we don't find it, we may mistakenly conclude that they are distant, indifferent, or incapable of a deep bond. Nothing could be further from the truth. Cats possess an inner universe of extraordinary emotional richness, but their language is encoded in a grammar of subtlety. Their trust is a silent contract, an unwritten pact whose terms are based on patience, observation, and a profound respect for their independent essence. Understanding this contract is the first and most crucial step in forging a connection that is not only lasting, but truly transformative. To decipher this code, it is essential to make a key ethological distinction, that between the canine and feline paradigms. The dog, Canis lupus familiaris, is the product of domestication geared towards pack cooperation. Its brain is programmed for social hierarchy, collaboration in hunting, and explicit communication. Its body language is an open book. The wagging tail, the submissive ears, the facial licking, these are signals designed to appease, to reinforce group cohesion, and to communicate its mood unequivocally. A dog's trust, therefore, is manifested demonstratively, extrovertedly, and easily discernible to the human observer. It is a loyalty that seeks validation and is expressed through obedience and palpable enthusiasm. The cat, on the other hand, is descended from a solitary hunter, the Libyan cat. Their domestication process was to a large extent self-domestication, an alliance of mutual convenience where the cat controlled pests in exchange for shelter and food. This ancestral heritage of independence and self-sufficiency remains imprinted on their psyche. A cat is not programmed to please a pack leader. It is programmed to survive. Its communication did not evolve to maintain peace within a group, but to signal intentions from a distance, to assess potential threats, and to conserve energy. Therefore, its trust is not based on submission, but on risk assessment. A cat does not see us as its leader, but as a stable and predictable element in its environment. Its affection, therefore, is not a loud declaration, but a logical conclusion reached after meticulous observation. Judging the depth of the bond with a cat using canine metrics is, in essence, like trying to read a Sanskrit text using a Latin dictionary. It is a misinterpretation that prevents us from appreciating the beauty and depth of its unique form of connection. This brings us to the fundamental pillar upon which the entire architecture of feline trust is built, the concept of safety. For an animal that is simultaneously an efficient predator and a vulnerable prey in nature, the perception of safety is not a luxury, it is an existential necessity. For a cat, trust is not an abstract or poetic sentiment. It is the neurological conclusion that it is in an environment where it can afford to let its guard down. Its brain, constantly engaged in processing stimuli and assessing potential threats, can only deactivate this perpetual state of alert when the variables in its environment are safe and predictable. And in the domestic environment, humans become the most significant variable. We are not simply owners or providers of food. We become an integral and dynamic part of their territory. A feline territory is not just a physical space. It is an emotional geography mapped with comfort zones, escape routes, and vantage points. When our actions are consistent, our movements predictable, and our presence a source of calm rather than stress, we cease to be an uncertain variable and become a pillar of that safe geography. We transform into a living sanctuary. A cat that rubs against us isn't just greeting us, it's reaffirming that we are a safe haven on its map. I need to be in survival mode. With you, I don't need to be in survival mode. With you, I can simply be. Understanding this is crucial. It's not about winning their love through grand gestures, but about building their sense of security through thousands of consistent and respectful micro-interactions. We've established the why, the subtle, I-earned nature of feline trust, its divergence from the canine model, and its unwavering foundation in security. But understanding the theory is only the first step. The real journey begins with learning how to apply this knowledge, transforming our understanding into action. This video is designed to bridge the gap between theory and practice, a guide to help you, the viewers, become fluent interpreters of the subtle language of your feline companions. In the next part of our analysis, aka deciphering the code, will move from the conceptual to the concrete. We'll teach you to identify and understand the 10 most revealing signs of trust a cat can offer. You'll learn to read their body language not as a set of isolated actions, but as the phrases of an ongoing conversation. And in our third and final part, Building the Bond, we'll provide you with 5 strategic and practical keys so you're not just a passive observer, but an active participant in this dialogue. See, you'll learn to respond in their language, reinforce trusting behaviors, and proactively cultivate an environment that fosters a strong bond. You're about to learn to listen and, more importantly, to respond. Join us on this journey to decipher the silent contract and build a relationship with your cat based on deeper understanding. You already know the fundamental principle. For a cat, trust is synonymous with security. Let us know in the comments if this idea changes the way you see your feline companion. Now that you understand the why, it's time to learn to identify the how. Next, we'll teach you how to read each of the signs and gestures that make up their secret language. Don't go yet. The practical guide to deciphering your behavior starts now, and if you're enjoying it, don't forget to leave a like. Part 2, Deciphering the Code. Body language and behavioral signals. Welcome back. On Move Beyond the Abstract Why, to embrace move beyond the abstract why, to embrace the tangible how. This section, Deciphering the Code, is your field manual. We will equip you with the semiotic tools to translate the gestures, postures, and behaviors that comprise the complex dialect of feline trust. We will proceed methodically, grouping these signals into 3 fundamental categories, beginning with the most profound and eloquent, those that communicate a complete surrender of their self-protective instinct. Signs of absolute vulnerability. Exposing the belly. In the animal kingdom, few postures are as unequivocal as this one. A cat's abdomen is its most anatomically vulnerable region. Unlike the back, protected by the spine and dense musculature, the belly houses the vital organs, the stomach, liver, and intestines, without any protection. Exposing this area is, from an evolutionary perspective, an act of extreme risk and an invitation to a potentially lethal attack. Consequently, when a feline chooses to adopt this posture in our presence, it is not simply stretching out. It is making one of the most powerful declarations of confidence in its repertoire. It is the physical manifestation of a logical conclusion. In your presence, my need for self-protection is nil. The animal has assessed the environment, assessed our presence, and determined that the threat level is so low that it can afford to abandon its primary defense mechanism. However, it is imperative to add a crucial nuance to this interpretation. This exposure is not always an invitation to physical contact. For many cats, it's a visual gesture of trust, a signal to be admired from a distance. The instinct to protect that area remains latent, and a hand approaching unexpectedly can trigger a defensive reflex, the familiar trap of paws and claws. A true understanding of this signal lies in accepting it for what it is, a visual offering of trust, not necessarily a request for affection. Deep sleep in open areas. Sleep is another state of extreme vulnerability. Most cats, especially in new or unfamiliar environments, will seek refuge to sleep, a closet, under a bed, at the bottom of a box. These are places that offer perimeter protection and limit the approach routes of a potential threat. Therefore, the place and manner in which a cat chooses to sleep are accurate indicators of its level of security. A cat that fully trusts its surroundings and its human inhabitants will transcend this instinctive need for seclusion. We will see it sleeping in open and exposed spaces, in the middle of the hallway, on the back of the sofa, stretched out on the living room rug. This behavior is significant, but the quality of that sleep is even more so. A cat in a state of latent alertness will sleep a light sleep, with its ears still registering the sounds of its environment. However, a cat that feels completely safe will enter the REM, rapid eye movement, sleep phase, the deepest and most restorative cycle. It is during this phase that we observe small spasms in its paws, tremors in its whiskers, or even faint vocalizations. And reaching this state of neurological disconnection is only possible when the animal's subconscious has classified its environment as a sanctuary. By sleeping soundly in full view of everyone, the cat is communicating to us that it considers us competent guardians of its well-being, delegating to us the vigilance that it has, momentarily, decided to relinquish. Blinking. If belly exposure is a declaration of physical trust, slow blinking is a declaration of social and emotional trust, might often called the feline kiss. In the language of many species, including felines, direct and sustained eye contact is a sign of confrontation, a challenge. Breaking that eye contact is a form of appeasement, a signal that says, I am not a threat. Slow blinking is a magnified and deliberate version of this gesture. By slowly closing its eyes in our presence, even for just a moment, the cat is actively communicating its comfort and peaceful intentions. It is an act of voluntary disarming, indicating that it feels so safe that it doesn't need to maintain constant visual vigilance over us. Scientific studies have corroborated that cats are more likely to approach an unfamiliar human if that human blinks slowly. It is one of the few signals in their repertoire that we can effectively replicate to communicate on their own terms. By returning the gesture, looking at the cat with a relaxed expression, blinking slowly and gently, we establish a positive feedback loop. We're telling them, in their own language, I'm not a threat to you either, I trust you too. It's one of the most subtle yet profound forms of communication we can have with them. The language of belonging, headbutts and facial rubs. We now move from gestures of vulnerability to acts of affiliation. When a cat headbutts us, a behavior technically known as bunting, when a cat rubs its cheeks against us, the action goes far beyond a simple caress. It's a fundamental act of scent marking. Pug cats possess specialized scent glands on their forehead, cheeks, chin, and at the base of their tail. These glands secrete pheromones, chemical compounds unique to each individual, which act as their personal signature. By rubbing against us, the cat is actively depositing these pheromones, mixing its scent with ours. From its perspective, it's performing an act of immense social significance. It's creating what ethologists call a cologne or group scent profile. Behind this shared scent functions as a family identifier, a signal to the cat itself and to other animals that we belong to its inner circle, its secure social unit. It's not an act of possession in the human sense, but of inclusion. By marking us with its scent, the cat is formally integrating us into its territory and identity, declaring to the olfactory world that this person is part of my clan, a source of security and comfort. Social grooming. Grooming is one of the most instinctive and fundamental behaviors in a cat's life. While its primary function is hygiene, it also has a vital social dimension. Mutual grooming, or allogrooming, is a behavior that cats reserve exclusively for members of their closest social group. They learn it from their mothers, who groom them to clean them and reinforce the mother-child bond. Among adult cats, mutual grooming serves to strengthen alliances, ease tensions, and maintain the aforementioned communal scent. Therefore, when a cat decides to groom us, licking our skin or fur, It is granting us a very high social status. It is treating us as it would treat its own mother, a litter mate, or a trusted feline companion. The cat's tongue, covered in keratin spicules called papillae, may feel rough against our skin, but the intention behind the act is one of deep care and affection. It is a gesture that transcends the barrier between species, an invitation to their most intimate world, an acknowledgement that in their mind we are family. Passive physical contact. There is a fundamental difference between contact that actively seeks a response, like a meow for food, and passive contact, which asks for nothing in return. The latter is one of the purest and most often underestimated signs of trust. We're referring to that moment when a cat, while resting or sleeping beside us, extends a paw to gently rest on our hand, arm, or leg, or when it subtly wraps its tail around our ankle. This gesture isn't meant to initiate a petting session or obtain a reward. Its sole purpose is to maintain a physical connection, a sensory anchor. It's a grounding behavior, a subconscious way of reaffirming our presence even in a state of rest or sleep. It's the feline equivalent of holding hands, a silent and continuous reminder that the bond is there, that the source of security is near. It's trust in its most serene and non-transactional form, the silent guardian. Does your cat seem to be your shadow, following you from the kitchen to the living room, from the study to the bedroom? This behavior, often interpreted as simple curiosity or even a form of demand, is actually a powerful indicator of attachment and trust. An insecure cat will tend to stay in its designated safe zone. However, if a cat that fully trusts its human expands that safe zone to include the person's proximity, the human becomes a mobile anchor point. The cat doesn't necessarily follow to interact, but rather to remain within its calming sphere of influence. It's a kind of gravitational pull. The cat orbits around the center of its safe universe. Often it will sit at a safe distance, observing our activities without interfering. It's not surveillance, it's companionship. It's a demonstration that our mere presence is enough to make it feel comfortable and at peace, no matter where in the physical territory it is. Soft vocalizations. A fascinating fact of feline ethology is that meowing, for the most part, is a communication system that cats have developed and refined specifically for interacting with humans. Communication between adult cats is based primarily on body language and scent marking. Therefore, the vocal repertoire your cat uses with you is, in essence, a personal language unique to your relationship. It is crucial to learn to distinguish between the different types of vocalizations. A loud, demanding meow may simply be a request for food. However, the sounds of trust are much more subtle. We are referring to the soft trills or chirps they make as a greeting, the short, high-pitched conversational meows they use to gently get our attention, or the low murmur they produce when they settle down next to us. These sounds are invitations to interaction, not demands. They indicate that the cat feels comfortable enough to initiate a dialogue, confident that their communication will be received and understood. Paying attention to this soundtrack of their relationship will reveal the depth of their connection. Calm interruptions. Having a cat walk across the keyboard while we work or sit on the book we're trying to read is a nearly universal experience for those who live with them. While it might seem inconvenient, it's crucial to put this into perspective. It shouldn't be seen as disruptive behavior, but rather as a complement of the highest order. When a cat observes that our attention is completely absorbed by an object or activity, its logic is straightforward. If that object is so important to my trusted human, I must be part of that equation. By physically inserting itself into our focus of attention, it's not simply demanding affection. It's expressing a deep desire for inclusion. It's an act that demonstrates great self-confidence and a strong sense of the bond. It's its way of saying, I want to participate in your world. What's important to you is important to me. It's an interruption based on comfort and familiarity, a maneuver to share the center of our universe, presence without demand. Perhaps the ultimate sign, the one that encapsulates the very essence of mature trust, is this: the ability to share silence. A cat that approaches, curls up beside us and remains there without asking for anything at all, not food, not play, not affection, is offering us the purest form of companionship. This is a non-transactional relationship. In that moment, we are not a provider of resources, but simply companionship. Our presence, in and of itself, is the reward. It is the feline equivalent of sitting in silence with a friend, wondering where the need to fill the space with words or actions disappears because the comfort of the connection is enough. This act of peaceful coexistence demonstrates that the cat associates us with a state of calm and serenity. It is the final proof that we have managed to build not just a home, but an emotional refuge, a place where simply being together is the greatest gesture of all. Of all the signs we've seen, which ones do you recognize in your own cat? We'd love to read your comments, but knowing how to identify trust is just the beginning. Next, in our final section, we'll teach you 5 practical keys to actively building and strengthening that bond. Don't give up. The most important part starts now. Part 3, Building the Bond, 5 Keys to Becoming Their Safe Haven. In the preceding sections of this analysis, we embarked on a journey of deconstruction. First, we established the conceptual framework for understanding feline trust, and then we learned to decode the signals they send us. We learned to listen. Now we arrive at the most crucial and empowering stage of all, the active building of the bond. Trust is not a static state that, once achieved, is maintained by inertia. It is a living organism, a dynamic entity that must be nurtured and cultivated daily through our actions and consistency. In this third and final part, Building the Bond, we will present 5 fundamental keys. 5 principles of action that will allow you not only to be recipients of your cat's affection, but also conscious architects of a safe haven for them. It is time to learn how to respond, to close the circle of communication, and to forge an unbreakable connection. Key 1. Predictability is peace. The first and most fundamental pillar in building trust is predictability. As we've established, a cat's brain is constantly assessing its environment for potential threats. Uncertainty is the primary trigger for feline anxiety. Conversely, a predictable and structured environment is the balm that soothes its nervous system. This translates, first and foremost, into the power of routines. Establishing fixed times for feeding, play, and litter box cleaning creates a daily rhythm that acts as an anchor for the cat. Its internal clock learns to anticipate the day's events, eliminating the anxiety of not knowing when its basic needs will be met. But this external order generates a profound internal order, but predictability goes beyond schedules. It must extend to our own presence and behavior. Our emotional consistency is perhaps the most crucial factor. Cats are creatures extremely sensitive to the energy of their environment. They perceive our tension, our stress, our impatience. If our interactions with them are erratic, sometimes calm and gentle, other times abrupt and hurried, we become a source of uncertainty. We must strive to be a beacon of calm, move around the home with deliberate gestures, speak to them in a soft, steady tone of voice, and approach them predictably without sudden movements. Every time we act consistently and calmly, we deposit a coin in the bank of trust. Over time, these deposits accumulate, and the cat learns, on a visceral level, that our presence is not only safe, but is, in itself, a source of peace. Key 2. The gift of choice. The second key lies in a concept we often overlook: respect for feline autonomy. Trust cannot be forced, it must be offered willingly. A cat that feels in control of its social interactions is a confident and self-assured cat. Forcing affection, chasing the cat to pet it, picking it up when it doesn't want to be, or cornering it, is the fastest way to erode trust. Each of these actions sends a clear message. Your boundaries don't matter, or how my desire to interact takes precedence over your need for space. This creates a negative association with human contact. The right strategy is one of invitation. We must always give them the gift of choice. Instead of going to the cat, let the cat come to us. When entering a room, sit quietly and wait. When you want to pet them, extend your hand at their level and let them decide if they want to rub against it. Providing escape routes and vertical spaces, such as tall scratching posts or shelves, allows them to observe their surroundings from a safe distance and decide when and how they want to participate in household life. This principle is especially vital for shy cats or those who have suffered previous trauma. The ability to say no, to withdraw from an interaction without being chased, is what teaches them that saying yes is safe. By respecting their autonomy, we are not creating a distant animal, but rather laying the foundation so that when they choose to approach, they do so out of genuine desire and not resignation. And that choice born of freedom is the true foundation of an authentic bond. Key 3. Play as a primitive bond. The third key connects us to the cat's deepest essence, its hunting instinct. Interactive play is not merely a pastime or a way for the animal to expend energy. It is a ritual of immense psychological importance. A domestic cat, even with all its needs met, still harbors within it the complete programming of a predator. Ignoring this facet of its nature is to ignore a fundamental part of who it is. The most effective game is one that simulates the complete hunting sequence: stalking, chasing, leaping, and capturing. For this, the most effective tools are wands or fishing rods with a toy on the end, as they allow us to mimic the unpredictable movement of prey while keeping our hands at a safe distance, preventing the cat from associating them with a toy. The key lies in the quality of the interaction. It's not about aimlessly waving the wand, but about thinking like prey. Moving the toy erratically, hiding it behind furniture, pausing, all of this stimulates the cat's mind. And crucially, we must allow the cat to hunt the toy periodically. And letting it catch and capture it provides a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction that is vital for its mental well-being. By actively participating in this ritual, we transcend our role as mere providers. We become hunting partners, associates with a primal instinct. These shared play sessions strengthen the bond at a deep level, associating our presence with excitement, stimulation, and the successful culmination of their most fundamental impulses. Key 4. Listen with your eyes. Our fourth key is a refinement of the skills we began to acquire in Part 2. It's not enough to recognize the signals. We must learn to modulate our behavior in real time in response to them. This is listening with your eyes, the art of reading feline body language and adjusting our actions accordingly, creating a loop of respectful communication. A cat's body is a barometer of its emotional state, and its tail is one of its most expressive indicators. An upright tail, perhaps with a slight curve at the tip, is a friendly greeting. A tail that moves slowly from side to side indicates concentration or interest. But a tail that thrashes with sharp, rapid movements is a clear sign of growing irritation. Recognizing this change and stopping the petting at that precise moment shows the cat that we understand its boundaries. The same applies to their ears. Ears erect and pointing forward denote curiosity. Ears turned to the sides or completely flattened against the head, so-called airplane ears, are an unmistakable sign of fear or anger. Seeing these ears and giving the animal space is a demonstration of respect. It's a dance of subtle interactions. Observe their body posture. Are they relaxed and at ease or tense and cowering? Pay attention to their vocalizations. Is it a soft trill or a low growl? Each of these signals is a piece of information. By acting on that information, by stopping when they are irritated, giving them space when they are scared, responding calmly when they are relaxed, we are communicating the most powerful message of all. I see you, I hear you, and I respect you. This constant validation of their feelings is what truly solidifies trust. Key 5. Strengthen love. Finally, the fifth key, reinforcing positive interactions. Trust, like any behavior, is strengthened through repetition and reward. When our cat initiates positive contact, when it seeks our company, offers us a gesture of affection, or interacts with us calmly, it's crucial that this experience is rewarding for them. However, it's important to understand what constitutes an effective reward from a feline perspective. While treats can work, the most powerful reinforcement is often our own energy and well-calibrated response. When a cat jumps onto the sofa to sit beside us, an enthusiastic and noisy human reaction can be overwhelming. The ideal reward in this case might be much more subtle, responding with a slow blink, gentle stroke in the direction of the gentle stroke in the direction of the fur on the cheek or under the chin, avoiding any sudden movements on the head or back. It's about associating its attempts at connection with predictably pleasant and calming outcomes. Every time we respond to an outpouring of affection with calm, respect, and gentleness, as we are positively reinforcing that behavior. We are creating a virtuous cycle where the cat learns that seeking interaction with us is a safe and rewarding experience, which will encourage it to repeat it. It is through these thousands of micro rewards that the tapestry of deep and lasting love is woven, thread by thread. We have reached the end of our journey. We have explored the philosophy of feline trust, learned to decipher its secret code, and outlined the keys to actively building a bond based on mutual respect. What emerges from this analysis is a profound and beautiful truth. A cat's love is not noisy. It is not expressed in grand pronouncements, but in the eloquence of silence, in the courage of vulnerability, and in the constancy of presence. Building a relationship with these magnificent creatures is less a matter of training and more an exercise in patience, empathy, and self-awareness. It compels us to slow down, to observe, to listen with more than just our ears. It teaches us that the most meaningful communication often lacks words. The bond forged through this understanding is one of the purest and most significant one can experience. It is a silent contract, yes, but its terms are crystal clear. If you offer me safety, I will offer you my most authentic self. Now it's your turn. The real magic happens off-screen, in the quiet moments you share with your feline companions. Well, we'd love for this space to become a community of understanding. Share in the comments. What was that moment, that gesture, that made you realize your cat trusted you completely? Your stories will enrich all of us who love these animals. If this journey has fascinated you, join us to reveal the next great mystery of the feline kingdom.